Now, this seems like a very hot market at first glance, and do not get me wrong, it is turning into a hot market for downtown condo. In today's video, a quick update with regards to the condominium market in downtown Toronto so far into March 2021. Everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty. As always, you can find my contact information in the description box. Furthermore, feel free to subscribe, comment, like, and review. Your support in terms of a like or a comment or a subscription is much appreciated. However, obviously, you're not obliged to do so. Feel free not to subscribe, not to comment, and not to like. Anyways, let's get to the point of today's video, which is a quick condo market update. It's going to be in three major sections. First, I'm going to go through the prices of downtown condominiums by bedroom number. So we have four major categories: one bedroom units, 1+1s, two bedroom units, and 2+1s. And for each type, for each bedroom number, I'm going to go through the average asking, average sold, and break down my thoughts. Then we're going to look at the market at large and compare it year over year and month over month to see where the market stands in terms of price, if it's still a buyer's market or a seller's market or a moderate market. As you've seen thus far, I have said it is still a buyer's market that is inching towards a moderate market, most recently as of February. And we'll see if that's still true today. Sprinkled through all that, I'm going to give advice in terms of how buyers should be approaching the market for downtown condos and how sellers should be approaching it as well. Okay, first, let's go through the average prices for downtown Toronto condominiums so far in March 2021 per number of bedrooms. So as I said off the bat, I'm going to go through the prices of one bedrooms, 1+1s, two bedrooms, and 2+1s. Since this is based upon my own research, I try to be as thorough about it as possible. So for instance, if we're looking at the one bedroom numbers, none of the 1+1s are included in those figures, right? So if I say the average asking price of a one bedroom apartment in downtown Toronto was $650, for example, and then I do the same thing for 1+1s, obviously none of the entries and singular numbers of the 1+1s were accounted for in the larger figure for one bedrooms, or vice versa, and that also extends and applies to the two bedrooms and the 2+1s. It wouldn't really make sense for me to give you an average price for a two bedroom and then an average price for a 2+1, but in the 2+1 figure, and then it turns out that I included the sale data of the two bedrooms in the 2+1s. We're just purely looking at one bedroom condominiums. It is important to know that it's just an average price. One bedroom with a parking spot greatly differs in value from a one bedroom without a parking spot. But for the purposes of this video, once again, we're only breaking them down based on bedroom numbers and dens. First up, when we look at the Toronto real estate market in downtown Toronto with regards to the condominiums, we see that a one bedroom apartment in downtown Toronto, we see that a one bedroom condo unit in downtown Toronto on average is asking for $578,000, and on average so far in March of 2021, and only March, right? So we're only looking at from March 1st to March 18th, the first 18 days of March, because I'm recording this on the 18th day of March. The average sold price has been $606,000. And on average, a one bedroom unit in downtown Toronto has stayed on the market for about 18 days. Next up, when we move to 1+1s, off the bat, we see something shy of $100,000 in increase in expectations based on the average asking price, with the average asking price for a 1+1 so far in downtown Toronto for condominiums, $672,000, and the average sold price is $700,000. 15 days on the market. And when we move to two bedrooms, we see the average asking price in the 800s in terms of $872,000 on average for asking price for a two bedroom. And the average sold price, so the average price of a two bedroom downtown Toronto condominium, is $880,000. Lastly, when we look at 2+1s, we see an average asking of $937,000 and an average sold price of $953,000. So now that we have all those numbers, let's go through some key points in my opinion that should be brought to your attention. Obviously, off the bat, you see that on every account, so one bedroom, two bedroom, 1+1, 2+1, units are going above asking. The biggest gap of which is occurring with one bedrooms and 1+1s. where for both cases, they're going $28,000 above asking. And with 2 bedrooms and 2+1s, you have $12,000 above asking and $16,000 above asking respectively. Now, this seems like a very, very hot market at first glance. And do not get me wrong, it is turning into a hot market for downtown condos. But this can be a little misleading because a lot of sellers, under the discretion of real estate agents or themselves, are taking a bidding war approach to downtown condos. And what a bidding war approach does is artificially inflate this gap between asking and selling price. Because part of that approach inherently is sellers, or obviously real estate agents of the sellers, pricing the condominium well below market value. We saw some of this in February, but without a shadow of a doubt, so far in March, it has increased exponentially. And it is, on average, working out for sellers. However, I would still instruct a client of mine, as I have my buyers out there, if you're watching this, as I have instructed them, that it is best to not get involved with a multiple offer situation for a condominium right now, because it is still a buyer's market according to the prices. So what do I mean by that? Because you might be looking at me saying, well, that's kind of crazy. They're all going above asking, even though I explained part of that is artificially inflated. But let me go through the numbers of year over year. This is comparing the first 18 days of March in 2021 with regards to the downtown Toronto condo market, and the first 18 days of March in 2020 with regards to the downtown Toronto condo market. In the first 18 days of March 2021, and now we're putting aside the differentiation between the number of bedrooms, we're just looking at every single unit, even including bachelors, including a unit that's maybe 50 years old and a unit that's 2 years old. So a very, very average figure here. Average selling price of a unit so far into March 2021 is $745,000. That is based on 552 transactions. When we look at 2020, the same time period, the first 18 days, we see two things. First, we see the average sold price being higher, $835,000. But we see the number of transactions being lower, 338. So we have an increase in the number of transactions so far into 2021, March 2021, but a dip year over year in prices. And conversely, obviously, in March 2020, the prices were higher, but there was less transactions occurring. So what we have here is finally a moderate market, or close to, because the average selling price so far into 2021 year over year is still lower than it was last year, but they're dealing with more competition and more inventory. And this is another point here. Sellers are kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because when you have so many multiple offer bidding war units, and sometimes 7 units come onto the market at the same time, and I'm not making this up, truly, like some days I see 5 units, 7 units, 10 units come onto the market at the same time, all for multiple offers and bidding wars, and very alike units, by the way, very alike in terms of layout and number of bedrooms and everything else in terms of features. They come onto the market at the same time, they have the same offer presentation date within a day or two, and in my opinion, that is seller friendly to an extent where they're gonna sell the unit, but are they really gonna sell for the best price? Because you're competing with 6 other units in your immediate area. So there's a little too much inventory that's hurting sellers right now in terms of condominiums. And once again, it might not seem like it because things are going above asking. And hey, you're still, if you are a prudent investor and you did do your due diligence before purchasing a unit and you're a good owner, you're still not gonna lose money if you purchased last year. So when I say it's shooting sellers in the foot, don't get me wrong, sellers are still doing well in this market, but the increase in the number of inventory as evident in the increase in the number of transactions, because naturally when you have such an increase in the number of transactions, there's a base amount of inventory that had increased as well, a base amount of listings, you are giving up some of your leverage as a seller. For buyers, what I would recommend is try your best to avoid a multiple offer situation, or if you're gonna enter a multiple offer situation for a unit you really like, give your best, but reasonable, but best preemptive offer. Do not go into offer presentation night. What else you can do is wait for these offer presentations to fail, because undoubtedly, in my opinion, out of 8 units on the market that have offer presentations on a certain night, maybe 7 and 6 of them will sell, but there will be that 1 or 2 that either don't get an offer or an offer they like. And then if you're working with a good real estate agent, such as myself or some other real estate agents that I know on YouTube or in my work, they will take advantage of that situation for you. Anyways, that's Sam from Saberi Real Estate, Remax Realtron Realty. As always, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Thanks for watching. Stay in touch and stay tuned. Yes.